Okay, guys, this is it, our final two lessons for the year. Lesson 3, missing angles. The angles in any triangle add up to. So we know that a triangle has 180 degrees in it. I think we know that from prior uh, years. So if two angles are known, we can solve for the missing angle. If we know two angles, that's pretty easy to find the missing angle. Okay, I know that this one here is 90 degrees. Wherever I see that little square, that's 90. And of course, this is 90 and this is 90. So the sum is 180. So if you take 180 and subtract 60 and subtract 90, we will get 30 degrees. So I know that this missing x value is 30 degrees. That angle there between those two sides is 30 degrees. Same with the next one. I can do 180 minus 90 minus 43, which is 47 degrees. So again, x here is 47 degrees. Now some of you might just clue in and say, well, if this one here is 90, then these two here have to total up to 90. So another way of doing this is just to plop right over and say 90 minus 26.5, and that's equal to 63. Whoops, I'm going off the page here. 63.5 degrees. Okay, so that's super easy. That's if you have the two other angles. Now, this one would be the same thing. This one would be the same thing. If we look at C, the try for C, we have to look here. This is not 90 degrees. So this one would be 180 minus 88 minus 16, and whatever that is. That's equal to 76 degrees. Okay, so that's how you do those ones. Now for the next set, we're finding unknown angles given two sides. So we don't know this other angle, but if I want to find angle theta here, I need to use a trig ratio. Okay, so again, let's go through the steps. Just like the last couple lessons, we have to make sure our calculators are in degree mode. Okay, so make sure your calculator's in degree mode. We want to label the triangle in relation to the reference angle. Okay, so theta, that's my reference angle, theta r. You can call that theta or theta r. Is right there. There's our reference angle. And therefore, then we want to select the appropriate trig ratio using our SOHCAHTOA acronym, substituting the values, and solve for the unknown angle. So because our ratios, if I know a ratio to a right angle triangle, I can find the angle, and subsequently, if I know the angle, I can find the ratio. If I know the ratio, I can find the angle. So let's go backwards and let's do that. So let's label this triangle here with respect to this angle. So this is our adjacent side and this is our hypotenuse side. I don't know the opposite, nor do I care about the opposite. So really, I can just ignore that guy. Okay? And so therefore, this would be the cosine of blank is blank over blank. Just like last week, we set up the ratios exactly the same. We set up our whole equation, and this is adjacent over hypotenuse because I've decided already, I know I've got my adjacent and hypotenuse, and when I think of SOHCAHTOA, right, this is adjacent and hypotenuse. So what goes in the first blank? The first blank is where we put the angle. In this case, the angle is what we're looking for, so we're just going to put in theta. Cosine of theta, we always put the angle in this blank, but if we don't know the angle, we put in x or theta or whatever that angle might be. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 6.5 over 12.7. So on this side, I could actually just take that and divide in my calculator, and I would get a decimal equivalent close to 0.5, right? 6 over 12 is a half. But what we're looking for is we're looking for theta in this case. So in this case, I'm solving for theta. I don't cross multiply here because theta is my unknown. I don't want cosine of theta, I just want theta. So my calculator has programmed into it all of the ratios. So if I want to find what theta is, I can go backwards because I have the ratio of 6.5 over 12.7, and I can come up with my angle measure. So if I literally just type in, let's go into our calculator and let's just do one of these. Sorry. Clear that out. second function cosine of 6.5 divided by 12.7. Let's make sure we're in the right mode. We're not. And we get 59.2. So my understanding is, I think usually we say to the nearest degree. Okay, so yeah, our notes say to the nearest degree. So 6.5 divided by 12, it's 59 degrees would be that angle. Okay, so that angle there is, oops, that's a 59 degrees. Okay, next one, let's try B. With respect to our reference angle here. So there's our reference angle. This one is the opposite, and this one is the adjacent. So I would, again, I'm looking at my acronym, SOHCAHTOA. So this would be a tan. So therefore, let's set up our ratio. I know it's tan. Once I've decided that it's tan, I say tan of blank is blank over blank, opposite over adjacent. And what goes into the first blank? Well, of course, in this case, it's theta. My opposite is 18, our adjacent is 24. So therefore, theta is the inverse tan of 18 over 24. And again, let's do one more like that. We hit the second function tan key of 18 divided by 24. And we get 36.8. We would run that to 37 degrees if we're using the nearest degree. Okay. Why don't you guys do a try for C, D, E, and F? Or yeah, these C and D. I guess these are the examples, but why don't you guys try those ones? Okay. And you can even try these tries. Okay. So pause the video and give those a little try. Okay, so for question C, we should get an angle of 37 degrees. Hopefully you tried this on your own. And then for question D, which ratio to use? Well, we had all three sides given to us. We had the opposite and the adjacent and the hypotenuse, so we could have used any of the three ratios. And of course, any of those would give the same answer, okay, of theta is 23 degrees. Okay, so regardless of which angle, ratio, I should say, that you used, you would get the same angle of 23 degrees. For this week, let's start, let's just give the first part of our password, and we will say, let's make it fantastic. Okay, fantastic is the first word in our password for this week. And of course, if you do these tries down below, determine each angle to the nearest degree. We've got, this one is 52 degrees. B should end up being 56 degrees, unless I've made a mistake here. I just did these really quickly. So, and then the last ratio, we end up getting 37 degrees. And of course, we can use any of these three sides because we have all three sides given. Okay. Now for lesson 3, you can do all the questions, numbers 1 to 3. Super easy, but a good, quick, easy review before you attempt the assessment. Okay. Have a great week, and please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.